Tonight, not guilty.
A resounding vindication for Mr. McLeod and for his co-defendants.
We will carefully review Justice Caricia's decision.
5 former World Junior hockey players acquitted of sexual assault. Reaction from the courthouse and from Waterloo Region advocates.
We know that the justice system doesn't often serve survivors well.
For sexual assault survivors. An unsuspecting summer camp stream. A sports live streaming service gets shut down in local arenas as the province's privacy watchdog investigates. Paying tribute to industry icon Hulk Hogan.
He encapsulates professional wrestling.
How the wrestler is being remembered.
And I may not agree with a lot of his stuff he does in his life, but none of that will ever change my memory of Hulk Hogan.
In and out of the ring. Good evening. They are not guilty. That is the verdict from the judge who oversaw the trial of 5 men, former members of Team Canada's World Junior hockey team who had been charged with sexual assault. In her decision, the judge at the high-profile trial, which saw 2 juries be dismissed, said evidence given by the female complainant was, quote, not credible or reliable. CTV's Adrian Gobriel starts our coverage tonight.
The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Caricia opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Caricia told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, 3-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Caricia shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense.
We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Caricia has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
As part of her reasons for her decision, Justice Caricia also added that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside that hotel room to take part in the sexual acts and even became upset when they declined her invitation. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
Here in Waterloo Region, advocates for survivors of sexual assault have also been watching this trial closely, especially as it relates to education around consent. CTV's Heather Centerin is live now with reaction from the Sexual Assault Support Center of Waterloo Region. Heather.
The executive director says she finds a lot of details about this case frustrating. She says people should understand the basics of consent, and she hopes the verdict doesn't discourage survivors from coming forward.
The not guilty verdict for 5 former World Junior hockey players in a high-profile sexual assault trial is something Waterloo Region Sexual Assault Support Center feels only tells part of the story.
I do think with the not guilty verdicts, we have to be very careful. That does not mean that someone is not guilty of causing harm. And in this case, harm definitely happened.
Written on the wall at the support center is, "We believe EM," referring to the complainant in this case, who said she was sexually assaulted by the 5 players in a London hotel room.
We as survivor advocates are taking this whole thing as a call to action because she stepped up and so are we.
Castleman says she is worried about how this case could influence sexual assault survivors, since many are too scared to come forward in the first place.
With a 6% reporting rate, and then about 1 in 10 of those cases actually having a conviction, we know that the justice system doesn't often serve survivors well.
What do we want? Justice!
The legal meaning of consent has always been central in this case. While the M says she was intoxicated, defense lawyers submitted video that they argued showed she wasn't showing signs of extreme intoxication.
I think way more consent education is needed. Folks should learn very young. If someone is inebriated, they can't consent to sexual activity.
Castleman worries about what can seem like playful locker room banter turning dangerous.
And so we've seen that there is definitely a link between, that toxic sport culture and sexual violence.
Last week, the Kitchener Rangers pledged thousands of dollars to help the Sexual Assault Support Center offer free training to young hockey players in the community. The organization was also recently asked by the OHL to facilitate training for all of its 20 teams.
Coaches, administrators, and players who want to be allies and leaders in this work need to set a new bar in terms of expectations about how they treat women, about how they obtain consent, and about what it means to be a man.
Castleman says she hopes survivors know there is still value in coming forward. Often she hears people do it because they don't want it to happen to someone else, adding that if needed, they have a legal team that can help survivors through the entire process, as it can be tough to navigate a case like this in the legal system. Tony.
Okay, Heather Sennerin with that reaction. Heather, thank you. And if you or someone you know is a victim of sexual assault, help is available. The Sexual Violence Support Center operates a free and confidential support service. They have a 24-hour crisis and information line at 1-877-392-7583. Okay, time for a check on the weather. Let's head over to Alex Pinto in studio with the latest. And wow, really heating up out there today. Really uncomfortable, actually, this afternoon.
Yeah, we're really starting to feel that humidity making a return. Hot, humid conditions. It felt more like we were in the 40s with that humidex today. But another big talk about the watches and warnings in place, the system that we're tracking, and could see a bit of active weather on the way. So here in Waterloo Region, most of the GTHA under that severe thunderstorm watch this hour. This is where we could see wind gusts up to 110 kilometers an hour, torrential rainfall possible. More than 50 millimeters. So we're going to keep an eye on that, even nickel-sized hail possible. The area in the red, so Mount Forest, Tobermory, Port Elgin, just to name a few, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning this hour. You could see up to 75 millimeters of rain, wind gusts 90 kilometers an hour as we get into the evening and overnight hours. For us, we are seeing a bit of sunshine still out there here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Just a few clouds, but you could see that rain is expected to be on the way. And yes, as Tony noted, it is hot, it is humid. 31 right now here in Kitchener-Waterloo, just slightly cooler if you are by the water. 34 in Barrie, but with that humidex, it is feeling more like 40 here and in many areas across southern and southwestern Ontario. So we are definitely feeling that heat, definitely feeling that humidity, and we're going to break down when we could see that active weather roll in. Tony.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. A repeat sex offender is back on the street, prompting Guelph police to issue another community warning. 36-year-old Medhani Johans walked out of a court in Guelph today after pleading guilty to 2 charges. CTV's Karis Mapp reports.
It was less than an hour after Medhani Johans was released from court custody that Guelph police posted a community warning. The 36-year-old has been deemed a high-risk offender and his whereabouts are currently unknown. Police say he has a history of violence, including 2 stranger sex assaults, and poses a risk to the community, particularly to women. Issuing the public notice is an unusual act for police, but not the first time they've done it. A warning was posted on March 1st when Johans was released from custody.
It is quite unusual that we release names and photos of individuals. We sort of reserve that for the most serious cases when we feel that the safety of the public obviously outweighs the privacy of the individual. That's why we took that quite unusual step.
On March 10th, he was arrested after allegedly once again breaking a probation order and not reporting to authorities, only to be released and arrested again 2 days later. Johans appeared in a Guelph courthouse Thursday morning. There, he faced the probation violation and a breach of a peace bond, pleading guilty to both. Justice Matthew Stanley sentenced Johans to 209 days. Given he's been in custody since March, his time served was accounted for at 1.5, allowing the repeat offender to be removed from handcuffs and walk out of the building a free man. Today marked the third time Johans has been released from custody in the last year. While the Crown voiced concerns about Johans not following probation requirements this time round, Justice Stanley said his hope is Johans receives the proper rehabilitation he needs. In the meantime, Guelph police are advising the public not to approach Johans if spotted, but rather notify police to ensure he's abiding his conditions. Kara Smapp, CTV News, Guelph.
Today marks 1 year since a second penalty hearing began for a Guelph police constable who assaulted a teen. The service is looking to dismiss Constable Corey MacArthur for the incident that happened nearly 9 years ago. The assault was captured on hospital security camera, and a warning, the footage may be disturbing to some. CTV's Krista Simpson joining us live now. She's been following this case and has more on where this penalty hearing stands a year after it started. Krista, what is the latest?
Well, Tony, there actually aren't many updates. Right now, we are told there aren't any confirmed dates for the next steps. This is MacArthur's second penalty hearing after the last one. He was told to resign or be fired, but he successfully appealed it. So for now, he remains suspended with pay as this all plays out.
It was back in September 2016 when security cameras at Guelph General Hospital captured a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed, kneeing Constable Corey MacArthur. MacArthur's response, an elbow strike that left the teen with blood on his face. Nearly 2 years later, in July 2018, MacArthur pleaded guilty to assault. Court heard he had undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder after the 2013 death of Constable Jennifer Kovach, who was responding to MacArthur's call for help when her cruiser fatally collided with a bus. Following the conclusion of the court proceedings, MacArthur then faced a Police Services Act hearing. In October 2022, the officer in charge gave MacArthur 7 days to resign or be fired by the police service. But MacArthur appealed and won. The Ontario Civilian Police Commission determining that, among other things, the hearing officer did not give enough consideration to the role of MacArthur's PTSD. MacArthur's second penalty hearing began on July 24, 2024. He again pleaded guilty to discreditable conduct. The Guelph Police Service lawyer once again argued the only appropriate penalty is dismissal, while MacArthur's lawyer says the officer has gone through extensive counseling and has changed, making him able to continue his work. There were a few other dates in October, but since then, a series of cancellations. A police spokesperson notes it's been difficult to find times that work for all those involved.
Justice sometimes moves slowly, and so it's not a quick and expeditious process at times because they are complex, and you're dealing with complex issues, and you're dealing with the officer's health and well-being, his mental state at the time and now.
Ian Johnstone is a lawyer who does prosecutions for police services and is not involved in this case.
There's a number of factors that the hearing officer has to hear evidence, like, for instance, is it in the public interest, to proceed the prosecution? How serious is the misconduct? What's the employment history like of the officer? Is there an ability to rehabilitate the officer?
Johnstone notes sometimes the passage of time introduces other factors into these types of cases.
Sometimes if the case has been dragged out long enough so the officer's pension has vested, then the officer will still receive their pension even if they're terminated.
MacArthur remains on the Guelph Police Service payroll and on the Sunshine List. In 2024, he made more than $115,000.
The police service and MacArthur's lawyer declined to comment on this case for this story, citing the ongoing hearing. We should also note that the 2016 incident was not the first time Constable MacArthur was charged with assault. We have details on that history and a timeline of his case over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Krista Simpson reporting. Thank you, Krista. Today we mark the passing of Hulk Hogan, the larger-than-life pro wrestling legend who dominated the sport for decades and who in recent years was an avid and vocal supporter of Donald Trump. He also dabbled in film and TV before wrestling with health issues. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin looks back on the life of the 71-year-old Hulkster.
Hulk Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bolea in Georgia, the son of a construction worker and a dance teacher. He built that massive physique and earned his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at this!
He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom, at his peak defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. He often leaned into the ring persona of a flag-waving, heroic All-American.
Eat your vitamins, be true to yourself, true to your country, be a real American.
Though he also later played a villain, as both he had fans around the globe, including Montreal, where in 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian wrestler to land a win against Hogan.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan, and I love you, Hulk.
Rougeau last saw his friend 6 months ago as they signed championship belts.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Hogan was admired by many but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video. Through it all, though, his superstardom in and out of the ring remained embedded in pop culture. Hogan died at the age of 71 of cardiac arrest. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
You will find fans of all ages around the world and many here in Waterloo region, including some so inspired by Hogan that they became wrestlers themselves. CTV's Jeff Pickle joins us with more on that. And Jeff, no question, for people of a certain age, Hulk Hogan is a lot more than just a wrestler.
Well, Tony, for fans who grew up in the 80s, Hulk was the man. He was the ultimate good guy and a real role model. And although these fans say the man behind the mustache was much more complex, they choose to remember the wrestler that inspired them.
I'm just watching Hulk Hogan against The Rock right now.
For independent wrestler Corey Spade, Hulk Hogan is more than a wrestler.
Life wasn't really easy in the 80s. But I watch Hogan, and no matter what anybody does or how evil they are, dirty deeds, Hogan's always true.
He says before Hogan came on the scene, wrestling was just something to watch on TV.
I didn't really know who anybody was or anything. It was just a guy like in the red against this guy's in blue. But all of a sudden, one day, this Hulk Hogan came up.
After drifting away from wrestling, Spade says it was a chance meeting with Hulk that got him in the ring in his late 30s.
They brought me up on the stage, and Hulk Hogan signed the frame for me and shook my hand. And when he shook my hand, I don't know, it's magic. I said, I think I can still do this stuff. And then I did it.
For Jeff Black, who co-owns Kitchener's Off the Ropes Wrestling Studio, a similar childhood story.
It was Hulk Hogan. Anyone that was across the ring from him, I hated him. He was the ultimate good guy.
He says Hogan's name is synonymous with the sport.
When I describe what we do here, I say it's stuff like Hulk Hogan did, you know, and that it's just he encapsulates professional wrestling.
Both Black and Spade say they are choosing to mourn the wrestler and not the complicated human being.
And I may not agree with a lot of his stuff he does in his life, but none of that will ever change my memory of Hulk Hogan.
You got to separate the man from the character. I like to remember the character because it's just got a special place.
So certainly a sad day for wrestling fans, saying goodbye to the original icon of the sport, the man who told us all to train, say our prayers, and eat our vitamins. Brother.
Jeff Pickle, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that look back. All right, well, tomorrow is the end of an era for a business that's been a staple in Listowel for more than a century. Coming up, the changing times at SpinRite and the impact on many workers.
I'm Colton Weens in Waterloo. The province's privacy watchdog is investigating a live streaming service that's available in arenas like this one after cameras inadvertently recorded kids' camps in Waterloo, Cambridge, and Kitchener. That story just ahead.
Waterloo region still under that severe thunderstorm watch this hour. We'll take a look at when we could see that wet weather roll in later this evening. That and more in your full forecast.
Ontario's privacy watchdog's investigating a live streaming service that's inside many local arenas. Live Barn streams minor and amateur sports, but city staff in Waterloo, Cambridge, and Kitchener say their cameras have been recording children's summer camps without their knowledge. CTV's Colton Weens standing by live now outside Waterloo Memorial Rec Centre with more. Colton, that's one of the arenas where these cameras were rolling.
Yeah, that's right, Tony. City officials say live barn cameras inside the rec center were activated yesterday and streamed a children's summer camp that was happening inside the arena. Right when city officials found out about this, they shut down all live barn cameras across the city. But now the cities of Cambridge, Waterloo, and Kitchener are investigating the extent of these recordings. City officials for Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge say cameras used to live stream sporting events were active without their knowledge during summer camp programs. The cameras in question are owned by streaming company Live Barn and can be found in 2,000 different arenas across North America. They're meant to live stream minor and amateur sports, but all three cities say they've been inadvertently recording children's summer camps this month. In Waterloo, staff learned on Wednesday the cameras at the Waterloo Memorial Recreation Complex were active and streaming. The city says campers were moved out of the arena and staff unplugged the cameras to disable them. Camps were also held at Albert McCormick Community Center, but they're not sure if Live Barn cameras were active there. The city says Live Barn has since blocked access to any online video. City of Waterloo staff are working with Live Barn to determine how the streaming was initiated and how long it was on for. In Cambridge, cameras were inadvertently live streaming camps at the Hespler Arena, Dixon Arena, and Cambridge Sports Park. Streaming service was immediately discontinued and parents were notified. The city saying in an email, "We sincerely apologize for the oversight, regret that this issue has caused concern or confusion by those impacted, and are committed to correcting the issue." Meanwhile, the city of Kitchener says cameras at Lions Arena and Grand River Arena were inadvertently streaming and recording off schedule since April 14th. The city says streams are triggered when the cameras sense motion and a blackout period is not active in the system. But all three cities have since turned off all Live Barn cameras in their arenas. As for the townships, Wellesley is not aware of any Live Barn cameras in the community. Wilmot confirms their cameras at the rec complex are not affiliated with Live Barn, but have been disabled since May. And Woolwich has Live Barn cameras installed at the Memorial Centre and the St. Jacobs Arena, but they have never been activated and are offline. The province's privacy watchdog is now investigating, telling CTV News Live Barn may be subject to federal privacy laws overseen by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner of Canada. Now, Live Barn tells CTV News it appears so far that it may have been a scheduling issue, and schedules are managed by the local venue or the local sports organization in charge locally. Now, Live Barn does say human error can happen with scheduling, and going forward, they want to implement more further safeguards to prevent future issues, while the Privacy Commissioner says people can make complaints, but the Privacy Commissioner is already investigating. Tony.
Colton Weens live in Waterloo. Thank you, Colton. The Sanguine Health Centre marked World Hepatitis Day with an event in Uptown Waterloo this afternoon. The free community event included live music, free food, and also harm reduction education and on-site Hep C testing. The goal was to raise awareness about hepatitis C and create conversations around the importance of harm reduction and equitable care.
Hepatitis is a blood-borne infection that can be spread in a number of ways, including through using substances. And so we're here today to spread awareness of the disease and also that it is a preventable and a treatable illness. There is a stigma associated with getting tested, and we just want to break down that stigma. We want to have those conversations about how to protect yourself against hepatitis and other blood-borne illnesses.
Sangwin will host another event to mark the day in Guelph Monday at St. George's Square from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Here's a live look outside from just outside the Waterloo Memorial Rec Complex. A very, very warm day as that humidity has been setting in, and we might want to keep our eyes on the sky a little bit later tonight, especially in some parts of Ontario. Alex is back with the forecast in just a few minutes. Also coming up.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Thursday, Environment Canada has issued a tornado warning for Central Ontario. Extra care and attention should
Alex is back with our forecast, and we should just mention this because people might have been noticing various weather warnings are popping up from the emergency alert system across Ontario. And that just gives you an idea that there is a lot to keep an eye on the sky for tonight around the province.
Yeah, we've seen several watches, several warnings. You may have noticed during the 5 o'clock hour too, North Bay, they were seeing a tornado warning that would have appeared on your screen just briefly. That's no longer in place, but it's been quite an active day.
After a day of humidity, so no surprise, all this unstable air. I guess that's why we're getting all of these storms popping up here and there.
Yeah, classic Ontario summer.
It is. It feels very much like July in Ontario.
It does. A little bit of that yo-yo effect, but hey, not too bad outside right now. In Waterloo, we are starting to see a little bit more cloud cover. About an hour ago, if you were tuning in during the 5 o'clock, you would have noticed the splash pad. Kids were out playing there at Waterloo Park. And yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to beat the heat, that's one way to do it. But yeah, that cloud cover starting to roll in right across the city of Waterloo this hour. But it is hot, it is humid. We're really starting to feel again those extreme conditions. And yeah, so we are still under that severe thunderstorm watch here in Waterloo region and much of southern Ontario under that watch. So this daytime high temperatures up to 35 degrees. So peak humidex values up to 44. And when we get into the overnight low, so 20 to 23, and when we see that heat warning playing in place as well, it's really the extreme heat, extreme humidity that we are noticing there. A severe thunderstorm warning in place. So this impacts several areas, including Listowel, Mount Forest, Goderich, Orangeville. Torrential rainfall, possibly 75 millimeters there. So when under the thunderstorm watch here in Waterloo region, we could see up to 50 millimeters of rain, hail possible at times as well. But for this area in the red here, you could see about 90-kilometer-an-hour winds here in Waterloo region and some surrounding areas, all that in the yellow there. We could see wind gusts up to 110 kilometers an hour as we get into the later evening and into the overnight hours. So something to keep in mind, of course. Now getting into the evening. So again, just seeing a bit more of that cloud cover start to roll in across Waterloo region, but it's around that 8 o'clock mark. I'm going to pause it here. That's where we could see quite a bit of active weather start to roll in. Heavy at times, depending on where you are. If you're going to be in Mount Forest, near the Aurelia area, you could see quite a bit of activity. Potential for a thunderstorm as well before it starts to ease up getting into the overnight hours into your Friday morning. We should start to see the day with a bit of cloud cover, but some scattered showers could be possible as well. So that chance of showers as we look ahead to your Friday is going to stay in place before we start to see a bit more cloud cover. And then Saturday we could be in for a little bit more wet weather as well. Temperatures quite hot still, 31 here in Kitchener-Waterloo, but with that humidex, it is feeling more like 40 and it's feeling more like 40 in several areas, London, Toronto. So that heat, that humidity still sticking with us. We did hit our expected high of 33 degrees. We hit that around 4 o'clock or so this afternoon. So that was actually quite comparable to our record high, 33. That was back in 1918. And on this day in 2004, 7.6. You know, we're going to get into an overnight low of 21 degrees or so. So 7.6 sounds pretty nice right now in terms of getting a bit of a break from that heat. But that chance of showers sticking with us as we look ahead to the overnight hours. The chance for a potential thunderstorm, depending on where you are, could happen as well. So tomorrow, 29 our expected high with that humidex. It is going to feel more like 37, which I guess is a slight break from feeling more like in the 40s, which we felt today. Mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers sticking with us. So over the next several days, chance for some wet weather as we wrap up the work week and look ahead to the weekend. And a note as well, if you are planning to go to the Wayback Festival outside Kitchener City Hall, Carl Zager Square, that is still going on, rain or shine, plenty to see and do. Lots of free music taking place there, so bring your umbrella, poncho, and again, that is kicking off tomorrow, getting into Saturday as well. And for Lambton, Kent, and Essex, chance for a thunderstorm for your Friday before just a slight chance of showers for your Saturday. And for Southern Georgian Bay, if you are going to get outside, maybe enjoy the water a bit. It looks like Saturday might be your best day. And here's today's Weather Watcher picture. This one sent to us by Ted Jacobs in Roseville. A gorgeous shot of these purple liatree flowers, also known as the blazing star flower. So I learned that today.
Nice.
Yeah, Ted says that they've started their summer bloom and attract both bees and butterflies, and you can actually see that bee buzzing right there, pollinating away. Really a beautiful shot, really great perspective too. So thank you so much for being tonight's Weather Watcher.
You should have just fooled me and told me you knew that species of flower already. I would have been so impressed.
I did not. We all know I don't have a green thumb. I'm learning, though. Tanya from World City Nursery is trying to help me a little bit.
Back to biology class with all of these Latin names for things.
We're learning lots.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
It is an ever-shifting goalpost for that Canada-U.S. trade deal, the one they're trying to work out. The latest to weigh in again is the U.S. ambassador to Canada, suggesting a framework for a deal might not happen by August 1st. With more, here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Thursday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for Central Ontario. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Parry Sound, Huntsville, South River and Berks Falls. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
A listable business that's been in operation for more than a century will cease production tomorrow. The closure of Spinrite Yarn Makers was announced in May, putting 140 people out of work. CTV's Scott Miller reports.
Deb Padorny and Anna Davidson are heading into some of their final shifts at Spinrite in Listowel. The co-workers have more than 75 years combined experience working at the legacy yarn maker.
It's devastating. I have known nothing but this since I was 17 years old. It's my life.
The production line at Spinrite will run for the last time on Friday after the company announced the closure of their Listowel manufacturing plant in May. Spinrite opened in 1952 in Listowel, growing to be one of the largest makers of yarn in North America.
Before that, I started in 1913 with Maitland Spinning Mills, so it's a legacy business. They're here in this area since, 112 years ago, so it's so sad to see.
Berkeley, who appeared in a promotional video for Spinrite just a few years ago, was laid off in January. She'll now be joined by 140 other production line workers, many of whom are generational Spinrite employees.
Spinrite has fed a lot of families. Both my mom and my sister worked here as well. So it is sad to see. It's just time to move on, I guess.
We're all crying a lot. Yeah, it's very emotional. We spend more time with the people inside there than you actually do with the people you live with in your house.
Now, a handful of employees here at Spinrite will be staying on for the next couple of weeks to tie up loose ends, says Anna. But essentially, major production ends as of Friday. Spinrite's retail location will close too, but the Listowel Distribution Center will remain open, keeping a few people employed. But a far cry from Spinrite's peak employment in Listowel of more than 300.
It was comforting. I knew my job and I knew it well. And I'm going to miss that, and I have to start over.
A lot of us that were laid off earlier this year are still looking for work. And it's a small town, so there's few opportunities, but not many.
I just thought Spinrite would be here forever. And it's not going to be.
In Listowel, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Time to recap our top stories with Leanne Evans in studio, and this was the day the verdict came down. 5 former Canada World Junior Hockey players found not guilty of sexual assault.
And Tony, people were on edge for many hours today waiting for a judge to go over the evidence, the arguments, and present her analysis. The issue of consent front and center. In her decision, the judge at the high-profile trial, which saw a mistrial declared and a jury be dismissed, said evidence given by the female complainant was, quote, not credible or reliable. The ruling came late this afternoon. All 5 men not guilty on all counts. A repeat sex offender is back on the street, prompting Guelph police to issue another community warning. 36-year-old Medhani Johans pled guilty to 2 charges at a Guelph courthouse earlier today before being sentenced to time served and then being allowed to walk free. Less than an hour later, Guelph police put out a warning to the public. Today marked the 3rd time he has been released from custody in the past year.
And Leanne, looking at what's on our website, earlier you had a chance to speak with the medical officer of health for the Guelph area about nicotine poisoning, and we've got that conversation online.
Yeah, we talked about some new research that actually shows nicotine pouches are now a fast-growing source of nicotine poisoning in young kids. We talked more about how parents can remain vigilant and the signs and symptoms to watch for. So you can watch that entire interview with Dr. Matthew Tenenbaum on our website. Scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Leanne Evans in studio. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Helping customers put their best foot forward is what a local business does best. We first introduced you to this Guelph cobbler last year after he saw a sudden surge in demand for shoe repairs. And 1 year later, he's even busier. CTV's Spencer Turcott finds out why.
Whether it's sanding, scraping, or stitching, you know where to find Pablo Hataritz.
My secret lair, yeah.
He's the owner and master craftsman at DMAR Shoe Repair in downtown Guelph. We first met him last year after a surge in demand forced him to shut the shop down for a month to catch up.
We're just as busy, if not busier, than last year when you guys came by.
What first seemed like a random boom in business for a dying trade has only grown. In fact, he now has 3 employees helping him out.
They're picking things up very quickly, which is one of the reasons we didn't have to close this July, because of the improvements they've made.
And the help is much needed. This interview forced a pause because of some unexpected foot traffic well ahead of the shop opening.
Nope, we're closed.
Inside the store, every inch of the place is filled with repaired shoes or ones waiting to be fixed. Shoe aficionados across North America are mailing in their footwear, and Pablo has had to increase his online presence. So why has his cobbling career taken a step forward?
Typically, when the economy has gone down, we've seen kind of a surge in our business, which is great. When we resole a pair of shoes, it could be a couple $100s. But if it's a good pair of shoes, they probably paid $500 for them.
He has also seen a shift with younger customers less interested in fast fashion trends and more interested in what's better for the environment.
They ask questions like, what's a good pair of shoes to buy that will last me 20 years, that I can get resold, because I don't want to be throwing shoes out every 6 months into the garbage.
Then just recently, his hard work was recognized on a big stage against other top cobblers from around the world. He won this trophy in a shoe repair competition hosted by the Shoe Service Institute of America.
So this is the gold award that I just won a couple weeks ago in Las Vegas.
Emphasizing that this humble workshop, his heart and soul, is right where he's supposed to be. Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Guelph.
A plan to plant a whole lot of trees in Waterloo, and it's about far more than helping the city become greener. Ashley Bacon tells us about this major planting project next. Millions of dollars have been allocated to plant thousands of trees throughout the city of Waterloo over the next few years. CTV's Ashley Bacon has more on where the planting's taking place and how the project could leave a lasting impact.
Planting an urban landscape for the next generation.
The impact initially is pretty slow, but we're looking at a 30, probably 40, 50-year investment of care and energy and forward thinking to make sure that these trees mature.
The city of Waterloo receiving a federal grant worth $1.9 million, then matching it, bringing the total investment to $3.8 million, which will see 10,000 trees planted.
There will be some boulevard plantings done where we haven't had trees in the past, if they're suitable width and location. A lot of parks are going to be used, and we've also done our cul-de-sacs.
A wide variety of tree species will be placed in 82 locations across the city.
We're planting bitternut hickory and shagbark hickory, some Carolinian species, a few black gum, and red mulberry.
The diversity an important tactic to combat issues like diseases.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:51 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Thursday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for Central Ontario. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Western Algonquin Park, Lake of Two Rivers, Parry Sound, Huntsville, South River and Burkes Falls. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
Much of southern and southwestern Ontario still under that severe thunderstorm watch this hour. We'll take a look at how your morning is looking at Wake Up Weather coming up. Here's what's on CTV tonight at 7 o'clock. It's E-Talk. Then starting at 7:30, several episodes of The Big Bang Theory. Before Good Cop, Bad Cop at 9. Then at 10, it's The Rookie.
All right, well, Leanne is joining us one more time with a look at what our team is following for later. Leanne.
Well, Tony, the president of Fanshawe College says the school is moving forward with layoffs, cutting nearly 400 positions. That's about 35% of its workforce. The most recent numbers suggest Fanshawe is facing a nearly $40 million budget shortfall for the next school year. Now, the news comes as we learned about a staffing shakeup here at Conestoga College earlier this week as well. We'll bring you more tonight at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you very much. And Alex is back with us. You were making some notes. We've got a lot of severe weather moving around various parts of central and eastern Ontario and even some of the southwest right now.
Yeah, and it's fun to keep up with all of it as it's ever changing. So yes, before we go to Wake Up Weather, we do want to start with that severe thunderstorm watch for southern and southwestern Ontario. So again, most of us under that watch. Kitchener, Waterloo also under severe thunderstorm warning. So we have 2 alerts in place, that coming down just a few moments ago. But yeah, so the severe thunderstorm watch impacting not only us, but those in Sarnia, Chatham-Kent, Windsor, London. So we're all seeing a little bit of something. We could see wind gusts up to 110 kilometers an hour, torrential rainfall, possibly more than 50 millimeters of rain. So something to keep a note as well. So getting into tomorrow, 21 degrees by 6 a.m., chance for a thunderstorm, but then by 10, mainly cloudy conditions. We could, though, see some sunny breaks, which would be nice to see.
Yep, got to keep an eye on those alerts for tonight, for sure. Well, finally for us tonight, a rare snow leopard cub has been born in the UK. It's part of a conservation effort to save the endangered species. The cub is the first of its kind to be born at Chester Zoo in its 94-year history. Now, video from the zoo's den cameras showed the 6-week-old and its mother playing and also dozing off a little bit in that enclosure.
And it is a cute one. So the cub's parents were carefully matched last year as part of an international conservation breeding program. The cub's birth follows the opening of the zoo's Himalayan habitat in May 2024. It boasts a vast rocky environment intended to recreate the mountainous terrain of Central Asia. What a cute little cub.
And you know, I'm a cat person.
Oh, wow.
I love the markings on them. They're so pronounced. They're just beautiful creatures.
Yeah, so it's always nice. We always like to show off some new arrivals.
And on a nice little note there. All right, thanks for watching. Keep an eye on the sky tonight. Watch out for that severe weather. We'll be back at 11:30. We'll see you then. Have a good night.
Take care.